Hey, folks, welcome to the Cripescast. I'm your host, Charlie Behrens. This is the podcast where we talk to people for and or from the Midwest, and we are brought to you by Jolly Good Soda. Here's today's episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Cripescast. My guest today is TrueMan McGee. He is the owner of Funky Fresh Spring Rolls, which are some of my favorite things to eat. Discovered them over at the Sherman Phoenix, which is it's kind of a cool spot to get things to eat over in Milwaukee, Milwaukee's north side. That's where I first found them, and now they're in grocery stores around the country, or around the state rather. And they're really good. I can't recommend enough you get them, but I wanted to bring TrueMan on because I've loved his product for a long time. By the way, these are amazing to put in Bloody Marys. Okay, I'll say that right off the top. Just get that out of the way. If you're into Bloody Marys, go to the Piggly Wiggly Festival, Woodman's, whatever, find yourself some Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. Put them in your bloodies. You can thank me later, okay? But I wanted to bring TrueMan on because, we got to know each other just like, I think over Instagram. We were just talking, and then we jumped on the phone and we're chit-chatting some more. And I'm really a big fan of him as like an entrepreneur. He's got a great story where, he was working construction, had to move back home with his folks, but then just something happened and he said, I'm going to start just working out and then training. And then he developed this spring roll just as a healthy thing to eat, high in protein, fresh ingredients, this and that. And then before he knew, he started selling those. That became the business. It went from being a trainer to that being in the business. And he's been doing it ever since. And so I just really enjoy hearing how entrepreneurs kind of take the no's in their life and turn those into yeses. And TrueMan's a perfect example of that. So I could keep talking to you about him and his business, but why don't we just cut to the chase and get right to it? Before we do that, of course, I gotta give you the whole sponsor spiel. But if you're looking to support the Cripescast, head on over to cripescast.com, click on the merch section. We've got all of your back to school merch. We got hoodies. We got the Midwest Survival Guide. It's your textbook. If you know someone going to the Midwest for college, or if they're leaving the Midwest for college, get them a Midwest Survival Guide book, because that'll allow them to learn or to remember where they came from or where they're going to. Somewhere in there is a tagline. We've also got koozies, bottle openers, this, that, and the other thing. And of course, you can subscribe to the Patreon for behind the scenes stuff, Charlie Behrens, or patreon.com/Charlie Behrens. And go from there. All right, folks, that is it for the intro deal. Here is my conversation with TrueMan McGee. Thank you, sir, for coming into the studio.
Yes.
You're one of the first few to make it in here.
Oh, wow. History, y'all.
Well, yeah,
Kinda?
We'll call it that. I appreciate that. Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm calling it history. I'm the first person to ever come into the studio. I'm just
Well,
saying.
actually, you're the fourth person.
I'm the first bald black man, maybe.
Bald black man for sure.
Yes. Black history, y'all.
Yeah.
February 28th. That's my day. I'm with it.
Yeah, nice. Well, we appreciate you having you in here. And I got to say, I guess the long story, the reason that you're in here is one of my favorite places to eat in Milwaukee. Back when they were doing this deal, Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. Holy smoke.
That's it.
I love them. Absolutely love them. And I also, the last time I was there, I bought, Funky Fresh Spring Rolls, you guys used to have sort of the brick and mortar shop in the Sherman Phoenix.
Right.
And then you had a freezer right next there where you could buy those. I bought a ton of those. Those are amazing in Bloody Marys.
Yes.
And if nobody out there, or if someone out there has not tried them in their Bloody Marys, they really make the Bloody Mary to come together. I feel like they are a staple They should be a staple of the Wisconsin Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary and spring roll pack being sold somewhere.
That
I've never had it, but now ever since you did it, it's my goal. I want to create some content, make a Bloody Mary, make some funky fresh. Boom. We're replacing the sausage that goes into the Bloody Mary.
You know what? Here's the situation too. You know, for those who are going to fight the sausage replacement, is the thing about a Bloody Mary is it's like a potluck.
It is.
There's always room for more. You know,
potluck, like a gumbo almost. It's
100%.
You find your blue cheese. You find your olives, sausage. I've seen a little mini slider on there before.
Yeah.
Cheese curds.
Shoot, at Sobelman's, I think they put like a whole chicken on top.
A whole chicken.
I think. Do they do that at Sobelman's, or is that some other place? Maybe that's in Algoma. There are a lot of Bloody Mary spots around here.
So you could feed a family of 4 with a Bloody Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, y'all. We did that.
So anyway, you got a thriving business now. But what's your story? Was it easy out the gate?
Yo, it was really difficult. Like just thinking of that time when that freezer was outside of Detroit, Phoenix. That came out of from us pivoting from COVID. Like our restaurant was open, it was doing well. COVID happened, shut down the whole world. Everybody watching in this room, everybody watching on the internet webs has been affected by COVID. So I took one day to sit home and cry after COVID. Like big 300-pound bald black man just in his living room crying. Because I'm like, how are we going to recover from this? There's no way. And then I decided, I say, you know what? We got this product. Let's just freeze it. Let's sell it directly to people. And that's kind of where the idea started. Then we kind of developed a package, got a freezer, got more freezers. And that's literally how our frozen business was born, through COVID.
Isn't it wild that sort of in any tragic or problematic or whatever situation there is, it's possible to kind of find that sort of silver lining. And for you, it was sort of a shifting of your business model. Like right now, the problem is that my microphone stand is messed up and my phone is ringing.
That's crazy.
Because when you put your phone on airplane mode, I was like, nah, mine's on silent. And I forgot about the fact that my dumbass computer is up. So now it's vibrating in my pocket and making a sound.
This is like a snowball effect. All these things are happening.
100%. And now I'm just going to lean into it, the tragedy of it all. And I'm going to just create a bit out of it about how disorganized I am.
Listen.
And it's going to be one of the best parts.
It's going to be the best ever. It's going to go viral. You'll be on stage with Oprah or somewhere, Dr. Phil maybe.
I like to think so.
You know, all of this happened during the podcast with me and it about Funky Fresh Spring Rolls.
Yeah.
This is like
and now it's full circle. Yep. 100%.
Hey, yo. I'm with it, yo. So but you was mentioning about like just finding not finding the silver lining out of just difficult situations. That's something as humans that we have to be conscious of, because difficult situations is just part of life. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So every situation like that, like what can you learn from it? I call it collecting pennies. Like what can you learn from it and store away and maybe use later on for the next problem.
What you call it, collecting pennies?
I call it collecting pennies because in life, we have experiences, we make mistakes, we fail, we succeed, everything. It's like saving money in the piggy bank. So for example, early on in my career where I had to move back into my parents' house and just like dealing with the anxiety, stress, trauma that like you're 30, you're bald, you're out of shape, and you had to move back into your parents' house because life isn't going well. It's a tough thing to swallow, especially as men, as we approach 30, we feel like it's like midlife crisis or whatever. So at that time I was unemployed.
Hang on. Can we just say quarter life crisis for a guy who's 36 and not quite ready to admit, you know, that
quarter life, something like that. But they say it was the life expectancy is like 80, 70.
Yeah. Let's go with 80.
80.
Let's go with it. So I'm not even there yet.
No, I'm 39. You 30. We good.
Yeah, we good.
We good, guys.
Yeah, all right. But you're moving. You're moving back into your folks' house, 30.
I'm moving back. I'm just about to turn 30. I just had a kid. He's 1 year old. It was like, I was working as a construction worker, laid off. And I just like, man, I need to do something I enjoy. Like, this isn't fun no more. Like, working construction, always being laid off or whatever. And I just thought, like, once you start like working out, getting in shape. So from there, I lost a bunch of weight. I had fun doing it. And then I said, when I switched careers, I got into personal training. I was coaching wrestling at the time at Milwaukee Tech and Milwaukee Pulaski. And I realized that, like, man, if I start personal training, it's just like coaching wrestling, just like coaching the kids. And in that, I was just having so much fun working out. Had these big ass tractor tires and doing flips at the lakefront.
Oh, wow.
And this lady came up to me and was like, what are you doing? She was like so concerned. What are you doing with these tractor tires? And I'm like, corny dad jokes like, hey, I'm getting tired. Get it? Tired? And she's like,
I laughed.
No. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, I am getting tired physically from working out, but mentally in my life, I'm tired of where I'm at, tired of being stuck. So I decided, I got to take life into my own hands. And I started my first business called Getting Tired Fitness. And we used the tractor tires to do workouts. And then from there, people thought like, hey, I'm plateauing my workouts. What can I do to, get more results? I'm like, you got to eat better, right?
Yeah.
And then I would start selling food to like the food I was eating directly to my customers, and they loved it to the point where they would call me and say, hey, I can't make the workout. I'm sorry, whatever. Oh, it's okay. And then later on at the end of the workout, they're there to buy free food. I'm like, buy food. I'm like, wait, I thought you said you couldn't make the workout. She's like, no, I couldn't make the workout, but I'm still making it for the food or whatever. So that's what I thought. I said, okay, people don't like doing push-ups and burpees, but people love these sweet potato, black bean burritos and spring rolls I was making at the time. And then that's where the light bulb kind of went off so that I could sell food, healthier foods to people. So about the pennies, to circle back to the pennies, during that same time, it was probably 2014. Like I said, and I was in this new journey, not even sure what it's called. It wasn't even Funky Fresh yet. It was just like Getting Tired Fitness, and Getting Tired Fitness sells healthier food or whatever. It was no real name to it. But I remember my son had a Green Bay Packers piggy bank, right? And he cherished this thing. And I'm like down to my last dollar. I'm like, I got to crack this piggy bank open.
Oh, no.
Cracked it open. And he was so young at the time. He's 13 now, but he was probably 3 or 4. He still remembers that. And trust me, I paid him. If he's watching this, you got paid. I got you last year. I took care of him. He's good. We're even. Okay. But I took the piggy bank, put it in a mason jar, and it was like halfway filled. I'm like, okay, maybe this might be $20, $24, enough to give me some gas or whatever. And I took it to the bank, and it was like $87. I was like, oh snap, $87. Took that to the grocery store, bought ingredients, made some stuff to sell spring rolls, made $300. Took that $300, paid my phone bill, got some gas, bought some more ingredients, and I just kept flipping that and kind of getting out of that position. And it's just amazing because I was collecting pennies to get to that point. But a lot of times we see pennies or things of little value, and we just ignore it. So me and you could be having a conversation. You might give me one little small piece of information. I'm gonna store that in my piggy bank. And now throughout life, I'm just accumulating wealth through experiences, or accumulating knowledge through experiences. So it's just the same as like collecting pennies.
Isn't that interesting? And in order to do that, you got to be like in the moment. Yeah. Because if you're spacing out all the time, as someone who spaces out from time to time, you miss some pennies, and then you miss the wealth of life.
That's it. So I'm conscious of it now, because I actually still to this day collect pennies. Whenever I'm out, I'm like scavenger for pennies. I'm like, oh, this is a penny in the gas station. Boom, pick it up. And
you're physically collecting pennies. I'm physically,
yes, physically. I don't want to ever miss that like hunger for it. So I physically collect pennies. And then also, and just in generations, like we're exchanging pennies in this conversation. So it's like always looking for pennies.
I like that, man. Yeah. That's probably going to be the title of your book.
You know what? So I got 2 titles. It's something with the pennies, and my mom's name is Penny too.
Oh, crazy come on.
It's crazy, right? Or I like the idea of calling it the best loss of my life. Best loss of my life, and kind of chronicle all of the losses that are like pennies, and how they've helped me succeed in life. Yeah. Because no one likes to lose, but losing is inevitable. And I love it. I'm a loser, guys. Hey, I'm a loser. Because losers, you find lessons in losses. more than just winning all the time.
Yeah.
You can't even win without losing. It's just part of life. And, you know, we could debate on failing school and failing whatever, but it's value in failing.
No, 100%. I also think it's, I mean, as someone who's also failed quite a bit, I think it's maybe the humility you get from failing allows you to, it's almost like, you know, when you got a piece of wood in the garage, you know, and you're trying to like stain it, get some new stain on it. You got to like, like losing, you got to lose that old coat, you know, in order to be, so that wood can absorb the new coat. You know,
Charlie, what the jib?
Did you see that? I was just staining wood yesterday, so that's why it's fresh in the dome.
That's
you know?
really good. You got to lose in order for you to shine as best. You got to lose a coat.
You got to lose a coat. You got to lose, yeah. And sometimes but just being receptive to other people's advice, because if you're winning all the time, it's really that ego, you know, that just keeps maybe you from absorbing what you need to really absorb.
So I'm gonna ask you, what's your biggest loss? If you could, like, when you think of like your biggest loss of your life, like maybe other than like a physical person. Yeah,
like, right. Like career wise, the biggest loss. Yeah. Oh man, you know, I mean, you move to a new town, across the country. Like I was in Los Angeles. I moved, I wasn't making any money there. And then I moved to South Carolina. And that's one of those situations. I think the time I moved to Los Angeles and South Carolina, I had more money in my gas tank than my bank account, you know? But when I was finally got a big job in South Carolina. And then like 3 months after being there, they were like, all right, they laid off half the company and then cut the salary I had by like more than half, you know?
Jesus, Jones.
I know. So I was like, now I'm kind of in this place, you know? That's not the biggest loss. There are bigger losses there. That was just the example that came to mind. But, you know, I don't know. I think, what about you? This podcast is about you.
Yeah.
You know?
So when I think about my first like losses in life, I think about when I wrestled in high school. So like, what I love about wrestling is you're in the room with 30 other kids and you're constantly getting your ass handed to you, or you're handing out the ass whoopings. It's one or the other. And then maybe earlier in your career you start getting your ass whipped, but then later you start handing them out or whatever. So my last ever wrestling match, I was like going into like so in Wisconsin they got the regionals, sectionals, and the state tournament. So the regionals, I won regionals like pretty convincingly. In my sectionals, you get to see, back then it was no internet. It was like you got to look literally in the Journal Sentinel to see who won. You had to do like, there was no researching. You kind of had to like, oh, this guy won from there, whatever. And I looked at everybody that I had potentially wrestle. It was 4 of the guys, and the other 3 guys I beat them like handily. And the last guy I didn't beat was like the worst out of everybody. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to the state tournament. You know, like Ben Askren, one of my friends, he was a high level wrestler. And I remember like talking to him like, yeah, we both gonna be at state and everything, whatever. And I get into so the night before the match is this old 80s movie called Vision Quest. It's like an old wrestling movie. Any wrestlers out there know this movie. And in the movie is like the most unrealistic. It's like 80s, it's all flash and 80s movies. Like guys are doing these amazing tosses and stuff people never do in a real match. Yeah. So I went to sleep watching Vision Quest. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try some new moves, not practicing, I haven't drilled none of these moves not one time. Get into the match, I wrestled this kid, and granted, my record at the time was like 31-3. That kid record was like 15-15. Yeah. I'm just trying stuff. I go and grab him and try to toss him right on my back. I was down. Essentially, I end up coming back, but I end up losing the match by 1 point. But I remember being so devastated because I worked so hard. I was just like, my whole life has changed. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to, it was like so many other things I didn't want to do because of that loss. Even like, and everybody was expecting me to win too. So the next year I remember like, I didn't go to college. I ended up getting to the trades. And I thought like, man, the sports just ruined my life, whatever. But I remember seeing some of my former teammates that I wrestled with, they end up succeeding. One of them made to the state tournament. And I was thinking like, dang, I wonder if I wasn't so mad at myself, like if I would have came and helped the team out, how much better would they have been? So from there, that's what initiated my thought to coach wrestling. I'm like, I want to coach because I want to pass it on, help out the next. Maybe you could be in a position where you're the underdog or you're the top guy and not taking any match for granted, any opponent for granted. So that inspired my coaching wrestling. Coaching wrestling, got into personal training. From personal training, got into Funky Fresh. Funky Fresh is kind of what I'm doing tonight or doing now. And it's like, I feel like this is my passion in life. I do this every day. I doesn't feel like I'm going to work ever, and I love it. But that wouldn't have happened without that loss, you know? So if I would have won that match, who knows where my life would have been. I may have went to college. I may have, started a different career. Who knows? But like that loss shaped my life because then I was able to help so many people with that one loss. Like, yo, don't take nobody for granted. I don't care if his record is 1 in 100 and you 100-0. Like, don't take any person for granted. So that's the best loss for me.
No, I mean that's really... Yeah, that makes my story look way worse. But no, I like where you're going with that because how many people get knocked off their game? I mean, the anything in being an entrepreneur or like I suppose in the entertainment business, which is a form of like being an entrepreneur. 100%. Anything where you're not in a structured job, you deal with the rejection over and over and over again. And sometimes it's not rejection, but it's just like a compass, if you're pointing it this way and that's west, compass is going to tell you. If you want to go east, it doesn't mean you can't, go there. It just means you're heading the wrong direction. So you pivot. That's it.
Y'all hear that? That's 2 for 2.
That's 2 for 2 on the analogies. Jeez.
That one might even went over people's head because
they're like, "What the hell's the
loss?" What he's saying is, if you're losing, that you might you might be in the wrong direction. Okay, but you're still making motion, making effort. It just means, all right, you got to go this way now. Yeah. All right, you lost. Okay, let's go this way. You got to just keep trying.
Yeah. And maybe that is the way, but you can't go that way right now. But there's so many roundabout things, ways of getting, like I got to my career through like news, I guess. And initially I wanted to like be a musician or something, so like
singing.
Yeah. Like singing, playing guitar, that kind of thing.
No, I just thought about it too. Like in your industry, like maybe telling a bad joke on stage could still lead you in the right direction because maybe you say it one way, you don't get the reception you want, and you say, all right, how about to tweak it and not just add this word, take away this word, say it. You probably said the same joke differently and got completely different reactions.
100%.
I'm assuming, yeah.
To your point about finding pennies, that's never more true than in stand-up because let's say you have a joke, it bombs. At that moment, you have a choice of just like telling yourself, I'm terrible, this is going awful, I'm going to flip or whatever. Or in that moment, you acknowledge that joke bombs, and then the crowd always sees your truth, and the crowd already knows that's true. So just by acknowledging a simple truth, you now have the setup, the bomb of your joke for a recognition joke with the audience. Yeah. Because you can make a joke about yourself and then rescue the show,
I love that.
But that takes just like being in the moment, you know. But it's exactly what you're talking about.
That's one of my bucket list things. I want to do some stand up.
Yeah,
I want to do one stand up show. I feel like I got a good 5-10 minutes in me. I could write some good material. Yeah, whatever. That's how I feel like.
Have you written it yet?
Never.
It's super easy. It's super easy. I've said it on this podcast maybe to some people before, maybe a different podcast. I have a different podcast where I've said, but the easiest way to do it, the way I learned is you just like write 5 to 10 facts about yourself, like, and then just start writing punchlines to those. Yeah. And then you can almost just look at like the facts about yourself and find the most relatable facts. Yeah. Have 5 of them be super relatable to other people and then 5 be super unique to you.
Okay.
You know, like that. And then just start trying to write punchlines.
The first thing I would think of, because it's a real thing, I have a high butt crack.
You have a high butt crack?
It's extremely high. It's like damn near mid back. Okay, you might be able to see it from camera if I lean over far enough. Yeah. But I even named my butt crack, called it Luther. Okay, Lutha, Luther. Yeah. Right, because Luther just sounds like a meaty name or something like that. So Luther just likes to pop out all the time. You know, we at Funky Fresh, we got our ways to save. So you might come and battle rap the owner for discount. You might do some push-ups, and there's been a lot of times where I'm bending down to do some push-ups, and a little 5-year-old girl in line is just like about to throw up in her mouth because she just seen Luther pop out right before she get her Funky Fresh spring rolls. So shout out to Luther, man. Luther, you the truth. You know, he holds me accountable, you know, and makes me work my ass off. You know?
Quite literally. I love that. That's a good bet. That's a really good bet.
And people can relate to it because this is my problem though. People are so disgusted about butt cracks. But cleavage is okay. Cleavage, for the ladies, y'all get some cleavage out, and the world is in your palm of your hands. But you see a little butt crack and people just lose their minds.
I've never thought about that.
It's just butt cleavage.
Butt cleavage.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's a great. I mean, you've got a high-rise butt crack. You've got a definite potential right there.
Yeah.
You got a good comparison and analogy to the cleavage, you know, I mean, and then maybe there's other pop culture people with a high butt crack. Sinbad has. And how do you know that? Because
they used to announce him like he's high yellow with a high butt crack when he used to come on stage.
Oh,
and I used to love watching Sinbad. He's funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Did he ever do a bit on his high butt crack?
No, never.
Really?
Never. Kevin on Stage just recently did one about his butt crack. And ironically, we both bald, bearded black guys with high butt cracks. Like, it's something. It's a real thing, you know. Plumbers, they call it plumber's butt, you know. And crazy enough is I actually know how to do some plumbing. So it's just like, I'm letting it out. You know what? At this point, I'm gonna get judged anyway. I'm letting Luther out.
I like that. I like that. And in comedy, your weakness is your strength. You know, that is because it's the realest thing. It's what people relate to.
I'm here for it, y'all.
Nice. I like that. Folks, how we doing? I want to tell you about Jolly Good Soda. It is the best soda this side of the Mississippi or that. Check them out, jollygoodsoda.com. And I will tell you this much. The sour power goes great in the old fashions, okay? The root beer is great for a Friday night root beer float, all right? And that grape soda. Oh my gosh, I tell you what, it is to die for on a hot summer day. So check them out, jollygoodsoda.com. You can go in the grocery stores too. And if they don't have Jolly Good, be like, hey, what in the heck? You know, but it's great soda. Check it out. Also, I want to shout out Fleet Farm. You know, some pet owners out there, they like to spoil their pet as much as their kids with everything you can find over at the Fleet Farm. You can get your dog toys, treats, find their favorite food from Purina to Science Diet, you know, Purina. I got to say that right, but you get the idea. You knew what I said when I said Purina. Oh, actually for cats, that could be good. Purina. I'll see myself out. Or maybe, speaking of cats, you own a cat and you're looking for the perfect cat tower. You guys like that? You guys like that? Oh, or scratching posts. I don't have a pun for that, but you get the deal. Fleet Farm has an amazing selection for that as well. Your four-legged friends will be jumping for joy once they see you walking in with that bag from the Fleet Farm. And folks, head on over to Cripescast.com. I'm on tour now. If you want to see me play, just Cripescast.com. Click on the tour section. If you're looking for merch, click on the merch section. We got t-shirts, hoodies, koozies, this, that, and the other thing. Again, touring around the country. I'm going to be in Vegas when the Packers are out there. I'm going to be in Denver, Pennsylvania, down south a ways a bit, and of course all around Wisconsin, the Midwest. So check it out. And patreon.com/Charlie Barons for all the behind the scenes. When we're on the road, outtakes from videos, podcast stuff, the whole deal. Check it out. Patreon.com/Charlie Barons. Makes a good gift too. If you forgot to like get someone a gift and you don't have enough time to buy them something physically, you can just be like, yeah, I got you a subscription to Charlie Barons Patreon. You're welcome, you know, and that could be it. All right, that's it for the ad deals. Let's get back to the old podcast. let's make the greatest transition in all podcast history from butt cracks to spring rolls. And
Yeah.
full circle if you think about it. So so the business starts in, what was that? We kind of
That
left
was like 2012.
2012
was when the getting tired and the business started. 2014's where like things got a little rough, but I was like determined.
Is that when you cracked the piggy bank?
Yes, 2014.
You cracked
Yeah,
the piggy
cracked it. Crack, Luther.
Yeah.
You get it? We'll go back to the spring roll. Okay. So 2015 is when, in my mind, it started getting real. When I thought like, man, people really love our product. Like I'm selling it out of my parents' house. And my dad is like Vietnam vet, steak and potatoes, a man's man. Like my dad is like super Packer fan. Like my family has this thing where if we watch the Packer game in the house, everybody has to sit in the exact same spot the last time the Packers won.
Yeah,
And,
I like that.
And if we're not in the same spot, my dad would kick you out of the house. If you're on your phone texting, you get kicked out.
I love that.
We got chants. It's like it's ridiculous, right? My dad is dedicated. That's all I'm saying.
I want to watch a Packer game at your
It's
house.
crazy.
I mean, that sounds like the most intense way to watch a Packer game.
Listen,
I love it.
It's sometimes it's too much. Like, why do I feel like I'm playing the game?
Yeah.
And like these guys are making hundreds of dollars per second, and I'm like, I feel like I have more anxiety than them. But shout out to my dad; it's a great man. But anyway, my dad loved the sweet potato and black bean burrito or spring roll that we had at the time, and I'm like, my dad's like straight truth. Like he'll tell you if it stinks, it stinks.
Mhm.
And there's no like sugarcoating either. He's like, son, this is awful. You need to get a job. That's what he would say. But he loved this. I'm like, if my dad liked it, anybody like it. We had to change the name because I was calling it Getting Tired Fitness Healthier Spring Rolls. And I'm just like, the people like, how'd you come up with the name? They had to tell them about me moving back home and yada, yada, yada. It was a long story. So me coming from, hip hop culture, today is August 11th that we're recording this. It's
50th anniversary.
Hip hop is 50 years old. So it's like, oh man, like I love hip hop. I'm part of hip hop culture. Like, I love food. I love being fit and active. So I was thinking of different names. That was like Fit Rolls and like, no, Funky Fit. Or it was like Fit Fresh Rolls. That is like, it's not really catching. Then Funky Fresh is like an old hip hop term. So then that's how the name kind of came, Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. And then also Ben is one of my investors. His name was Funky. He called himself Funky. And before he invested, we just had a good friendship. I'm like, that's a cool name. So I kind of stole his name a little bit, stole hip hop name. And then put it Funky Fresh Spring Roll. So from there, I had a direction where I wanted to, had a direction of our product, then started getting the farmers markets, festivals, and it just one by one, market after market, kept growing until we got to Sherman Phoenix.
Yeah. And were you doing, the Sherman Phoenix, for those who don't know, can you kind of give the story behind the Sherman Phoenix?
So the Sherman Phoenix is like a community space / food hall / health and wellness center. So the story of the Sherman Phoenix came from some tragic event of 2016 or 17 when it was like a police shooting, and then it was a riot in the city. Just a really ugly time for Milwaukee. And then a building that was an old BMO Harris Bank. Two ladies, Joanne and Julie, they raised $4 million and renovated the space and opened the space up for nearly 30 businesses of color to like get their first start into entrepreneurship. And for us, I was a friend of Joanne, and Joanne hit me up like, hey, we got this thing going, it's gonna be big. And then right away, within the first 5 minutes, I said, I need to be in there.
Yeah.
And this is my neighborhood. I want to be able to make a positive impact in my neighborhood. What better way than, inspiring people, selling healthy food, just being a positive organization in the community. So that's kind of how the Sherman Phoenix was built in 2018. So from 2015 to 2018, I was at farmers markets, festivals, traveling around the city. Me and Luther, we would be doing, all type of stuff to engage people into the Funky Fresh Nation. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
So 2018, we moved to the Sherman Phoenix. And before 2018, we were selling like maybe 50,000 spring rolls a year, like hand rolled, which is, it sounds like a lot, but like now, when we moved to the Sherman Phoenix, we doubled that. And each year, we just kind of kept growing. In 2019, we sold nearly 150,000 spring rolls. And then going to 2020, we had all these grand plans to maybe open a food truck and all that. Little thing called COVID happened and changed the game for us.
Yeah. And, but again, collecting pennies, you get, as you say, how did COVID then pivot your business?
Yeah. So going into COVID, like I said, I was really unsure about the future, but I took the name away from COVID. Instead of it being COVID, I said, this is just an obstacle. And all right, Truman, what's your obstacle? My obstacle is I can't get people food. People can't come to our restaurant, but we could drop it off. So literally I was thinking like, or we could freeze our rolls, drop it off directly to people's house and just kind of grow from there. Maybe I was thinking that honestly, as a temporary solution. I didn't think that would be like the complete business pivot. But once I seen that, like, I was like, oh man, this is actually a little bit easier than having a restaurant. I'm just packaging rolls and giving it directly to people. Then I thought, okay, maybe we could start selling them frozen at farmers markets, because at that year it wasn't even selling hot food at farmers market, which is mind blowing. COVID is like 3 years. It feels like we've been in this time loop, with no time. But it's been 3 full years since COVID. And at the time, we was just trying to make it from the next day. Like we had 12 employees. We were able to hire most of them back during that time. But then something just, I always had a dream that we could have a product in the grocery store. But it's like, if you don't know how to, like, where do you even start? How do you even know? Do you just go up to Phil Woodman and say, hey, can I get my product in there? It was like, how do you know? And I just, reached out to other people that was doing it, and like Outpost was really helpful with it. They gave me a lot of good knowledge on packaging and everything. That was the first store we got into.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, locally owned store or community owned store. So Outpost, I always shout out Outpost because they gave me my first opportunity.
How'd you do that? For people out there, like, did you just walk in there? Did you find an email? What'd you do?
So first, actually, it's weird because I don't even remember. I think I was emailing them and didn't like get anything, but then I would just like stalk their page and see like who's the important people in their organization. Yeah. Do I know anybody? I feel like everybody's in Milwaukee is connected by one person.
Yeah,
everybody.
I know. Yeah,
so it's like, let me see if I know this person. Oh, okay. So essentially, one of my mentors in the community named Venus Williams, she knew somebody at Outpost and she made the email introduction. And then that's essentially how we got in. Sometimes they probably get so many emails from normal people. Hey, I got a meatball recipe. Can I get, they like, yeah, whatever. So that's kind of how the ball started rolling, was with Venus. She introduced me to somebody and then they got me to the person I need to talk to. And it just like one person at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you get into Outpost and you then have to learn how to like repackage them for frozen. And
well, yeah, we had to do some research on packaging and research on like shelf length or shelf stabilization and all that. But man, talking about some losses, like Outpost is an all natural store, so they don't allow any like anything, so like high fructose corn syrup, a lot of the different stuff. Yeah. So we was doing this cheeseburger, like a vegan cheeseburger roll, and I was using ketchup. If you don't know, it's high fructose corn syrup and ketchup. So I did like this big run. I made like 1,000 rolls, got a package, got a label, sent it to the Outpost, and they literally hit me up the next day like, this says high fructose corn syrup in it, right? You can't sell these. And it's like, oh my God, 1,000 rolls. Dude. Had to take them all. I literally took them all back and just sold them hot at a restaurant and had to redo it. But that's the collecting pennies, like stuff you didn't know. But they gave me opportunity to make it right rather than say, this guy don't know what the hell he's doing. Get out of here, So like they were really patient with that. And I learned that lesson, learned about UPC coding. So if you're out there and you're trying to start a food product and get into grocery stores, you need first to get your costs together, get your packaging together, find somebody that knows somebody for the most part, and then just execute from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when it comes to sort of, there's a lot of different dynamics to your deal as well, like, and to like sort of eating healthy and sort of from an environmentally friendly perspective. Yeah. The fact that it's frozen means that it's not going to waste. Right, sometimes when you get something and it sits around and then things happen, you can't eat it. That's another cool dynamic of having them frozen. Or whatever.
I am a serial strawberry abuser. Like I literally just buy strawberries just to watch them suffer, for whatever reason. because they always go bad. Blueberry. Listen, if you're a fruit and you're watching this, stay away from me. Okay, do not jump in my shopping cart because I will let you die. Unfortunately. So having frozen food, you know, and it's been a stigma that frozen food isn't healthy, but in reality, it locks in all the nutrients and doesn't do anything other than just preserve it.
Yeah,
freezing food is like the oldest way to preserve food on the planet. You know, so it's like they've been doing it for hundreds of years already. So like it's still good. So that's one of our things. Want to be able to have a product that's sustainable. Like all of the ingredients we use in the restaurant are the same ingredients that you could buy in our product right now from the grocery store. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was important. So throughout 2021, we made a lot of mistakes. We learned a lot, and then the guys at Palermo's Pizza hit me up the next year and was like, "Hey, what do you think about partner up, whatever?" So actually, that story is really interesting because I met the CEO Giacomo Faluca at a networking event, and I was like the host, and I was like on stage with Giacomo, was owner of Palermo's, and all the people from Sargento Cheese, Johnsonville Brats. Like Wisconsin has a rich history of food manufacturing. Like a lot of big name companies are from Wisconsin. And I'm on stage, I'm looking at Giacomo like, he got shoes on, I got shoes. Wait, he's wearing pants and a shirt, I got a pants and a shirt. Why can't I have my business be successful like him? And I literally took a selfie with him at that event in 2018. But in my mind, I'm like, we're gonna do business somehow. And I met him throughout the years at a couple other like Sherman Phoenix things. But then they reached out and they wanted to, you know, like talk about a partnership, which is like a huge deal and a big dream of mine too, to have a partner like them to get us going. So once they reached out, I said, you know what, this is going to be it. This is going to get me, you know, out of my parents' house forever.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's what a way to sort of visualize that happening, you know, with that photo or whatever. And then do you find that now that you've kind of gotten to a certain level, do you find yourself embracing that and believing in that, or do you deal with imposter syndrome?
That's a really good question. I would say I truly believe anything is possible. We have so many different examples around us in every day from people that we do know or people we don't know. Like that whole, I know like the word manifestation and manifest has been like watered down with everything, but on the spiritual take, I don't want to get too spiritual on your show, but we're gonna touch on it.
You can do that.
We're gonna touch on it.
You can get as spiritual as you want.
We all have this voice in our head that's telling us to go the right way, the wrong way. A lot of times it's not even the wrong way, it's telling us, but it might not be loud, it might just be real quiet, like make a right on Felice Street, right? And sometimes you're like, all right, you ignore that advice, and then you get in some trouble. And it's like, dang, something told me to make it right on Valit. And that's just like that higher power that connects us all. It happens all the time. So I watched this documentary called The Secret. It's on Netflix in 2012. They talk about the law of attraction. I'm like, what is this? What is this? And they say, like, it's something that's real. It can be practiced or whatever. So what I would do is I would think of somebody that I haven't like talked to in a long time, and I think about how they voice sound, what they look like, whatever, just to see if they'll randomly pop up in my life. And for sure, it happens. It's a real thing. A lot of times we see somebody like, oh my God, I was just thinking of you. And I feel like that's like a form of manifestation. Now, granted, like it's a whole, I don't want to get too deep in it, but it could be impactful, but manifestation also comes with hard work too. You can't just think, man, I hope the Packers make this field goal. It's going to happen. Yeah. It comes with hard work, whatever. So I'm sure it's happened to you where you thought you had some goals, you thought about it, what it would look like, feel like, but you got to work towards it as well. You can't just sit in Charlie's nice attic and just manifest. It kind of happens, Yeah,
this nice attic that you had to duck to get up into. What's funny is like when I was, pretty broke and living in Los Angeles. This was right after college or whatever. I used to like people I would meet like at a party or whatever. I would just lie to them about kind of what I was doing, just because I was, probably just didn't want to admit what I was doing, which wasn't a bad job, but that's where I was self-conscious.
Okay, what was the lie?
I would say, I'm an associate producer. You know, because at the time I was a PA, I was literally, my job was making coffee and stealing the bagels after everyone had let them go. Yeah, that was pretty much my job. But then I just found that I would keep making lies for like the next. I would always be lying. I would end up doing those things, you know, which I don't think it's good to lie, but I think, you know, for someone you meet at a party, you'll never see again.
Who gives a shit? Look you up on LinkedIn? There wasn't LinkedIn back then.
Yeah, there wasn't. Thanks for calling that out. Appreciate that.
I just thought about it though. Like it was lying, but kind of not really, because that's what you wanted to do, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. So you just kind of like, what do you call it? Fake it till you make it.
That's basically that. Well, you're right. You know, I just tell this whole story, you know, and then there's 3 words that I could have. I got
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, you fake it till you make it. That's what I meant to say.
You made it, man. So that's great.
I did. Yeah.
So you did. So anybody watching this, Charlie lied to you. He didn't lie. I was just joking.
Yeah, I was just future telling.
He was. There you go. Futuristic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Future storytelling, like Miss Cleo. Is Miss Cleo still not? No, it's something different.
Yeah, that's
don't worry about that.
Yeah,
cut that.
Well, no, we'll keep that in just in case someone's like, "Oh, I know what he's talking about." So I think at the point, I kind of want to keep kind of bringing your story up to today. You find yourself in these various partnerships, and then one grocery store leads to another grocery store, and things start snowballing or spring rolling. And and is it continuing down that path? Are you still finding different kind of hardships in this?
Yes. I want to, before I get to today's hardships, I just find it's a really interesting story. Like, so during the negotiations with Palermo's, you know, we signed a letter of intent and we signed, like, you can't negotiate with anybody. Like, Shark Tank reached out to me, like the actual show. They said, "Hey, we've seen your social media. I'm like, okay, this is BS. Like, who is this playing on my phone? Well, and they sent me like their information. So I go to LinkedIn. Yeah. Crazy enough, I went to LinkedIn to see if this person was really working for Shark Tank. Sure enough, she worked for Shark Tank.
Wow.
And she's like, she's been watching our videos and she loves. I'm like, at the time I got like 3,000 likes or followers on Instagram. I'm like, how? And it's just like, you know, no matter what, everybody's watching. Everybody. Yeah. So I talked to her and they like, yeah, this is serious. We would love to have you be on the show, whatever. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, I can't even go on Shark Tank because of this negotiation. So I said, all right, I just need to see if I will actually make it. And I filled out the application and they approved me to be on the show. It's like Kevin Hart and all these big celebrities are going to be on that season. But then I'm like, oh my, I got to tell the people at Palermo's because I don't want them to sue me if they find out, whatever. So I told them, I said, Shark Tank reached out, but they want me on the show. This would be a great opportunity for me too. They were so cool about it. They were like, you know what? If you want to be on Shark Tank, we'll let you out the letter of intent. I think that would be great for you also, whatever. And I'm like, damn, that made me feel like, you know what? I want to do business with them because they did get business. They like, no matter what, they wanted was best for me. And that's, for me, that's what made me want to be partners with Palermo. So I always like to say that because, you know, a lot of other companies could be like, oh no, screw you. Yeah. Whatever. So I actually turned down Shark Tank to be with Palermo's because it was like, they're local. You know, get on Shark Tank with maybe be some overnight success, but I didn't have all of the things in place. Right. I'll just go with a company that we could do that for ourselves. And I just have to turn into my own, you know, public figure from there. Yeah, so, definitely. Yeah. So that's really cool. I mean, and it's, you know, shows their loyalty, your loyalty. Yeah. It's a cool thing. Right. I was scared though. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I'm like, I'm getting sued by somebody you don't know. Like Shark Tank is one of the biggest shows on the planet. It's just like, yeah. But I feel like we made the right decision because our partnership is going well so far. Well, it is. Yeah. So, and what is kind of your current trajectory then? Yeah. So currently, since joining forces with Palermo's in earlier this year, we got our product into over 150 stores. So the Woodman's, Outpost, Syndic's, Festival Food, Piggly Wiggly. Like Piggly Wiggly, I didn't realize Piggly Wiggly is such a big thing still. Shop the pig, baby. Shop the pig. You know, like as a kid, Piggly Wiggly, shop the pig. Right? It's like the coolest commercial. There's like, if you live in Milwaukee, there's really not no Piggly Wigglies over here. But Piggly Wiggly is a big deal. It's like 92 Piggly Wigglies in Wisconsin. So we're in Piggly Wigglies. So currently where we're at though, we're we're having some issues, right? And part of it is like our price point is a little higher right now. We do have, it's a bigger spring roll compared to like something that's more mass produced. So our price point is a little high. People don't know about the product, so they just, they see a product that's $9.99, and it's like, if our product's $9.99 and like our competitors is $5.99, a lot of times people want to pick the $5.99, even though ours is better quality, better value in sector. So that's like, I actually put a call to action last night on our website, on our social media. Like, we need our Funky Fresh Nation to buy a pack a week because our sales has just dropped dramatically. Granted, it's summertime, people are at State Fair, people aren't at the grocery store. But we just need more. We just need more support at this time because our sales drop so much. So for me, even in this moment, I'm like, all right, what can we do better? Can I make better content? Can we do more demos other places? Should we shrink our spring rolls? And that's probably what we're going to do. We're going to make them a little bit smaller so we could get them at a more affordable price. And I get it. Like, times are tough. Like $10, that could be you could get a big pizza for $10 or 4 spring rolls. So it's like, money is tight for everybody, and I totally get it. So from us, we're going to pivot again, try to make a smaller product, and keep pushing at it.
Yeah, it's kind of like another penny to collect. I mean, and as the economy changes, and I see that too on the merch side of it. I think everybody kind of is feeling that to a degree, and but yeah, I like, that's the sign of like a great leader who like says, okay, what can we do? Yeah. And then also I like how you like don't hesitate to ask your people to help you. Yeah. I mean, cause that again, like, I feel like some people would be like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, that's like being open and receptive to other people coming in. And I'm game for that. I think we should do like a Bloody Mary video with those, because I did do a thing at my we had like a little party and we put them in there and everyone was talking about how great they were. Yeah.
So as far as like asking for help, like, I have no shame asking for help. Like, look, I'm a bald guy. Like, I have no shame. Right? Like, clearly, if you decided to go bald and say, you know what, I'm just giving up, you have no shame in life, and that's where I'm at. Like, I clearly I need some help, but I'm gonna ask. So I will never hesitate to ask for help. Like, sometimes you got to get out your own way too.
100%.
Like, asking for help. Like, no one gets to where they gotta go, by themselves. Like, you didn't put this lovely podcast studio together by yourself, did you? Right? You got help. No. So we always.
I'm not that good with my hands. If I put this together, there'd be holes in these walls. Yeah, more. Yeah. I
mean, it's pretty nice, high quality. I just want to remind y'all, first black guy on the Cripescast.
Well, no, not on the Cripescast.
No,
there's been a lot in the Cripescast studio.
In the Cripescast studio. Yeah,
you're the 4th person in this studio. One was Jewish. Okay. 2 were white, right. And that one was white bald guy.
Somebody disabled? Is that a disabled sign?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's like
a Superman hit.
Yeah, he's doing these parks for disabled folks.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
NFL Iron Man, Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas. Yeah, wow. For the Browns. Yeah, just got into the Hall of Fame.
Dang.
Yeah, you can sign right next to him. He hit his head on that wall. Actually.
Dang it.
So did Andy, but he's shorter and has no excuses.
They wasn't you gave him the warning though, right?
No, I didn't. That's why I gave you the warning.
Hey, collecting pennies. Because now you know.
See,
after 3 people that got concussions, the 4th guy, no, we can't have that done. So.
It's only 2 concussions. Okay. Don't oversell my concussion. No, but back to your point here. I definitely think people should get out there and get the spring rolls. Try them in the Bloody Marys. Try them just for I have them just and I'll go get a pack today myself. But I get them just for like, I'm bad with meals. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if you're busy or whatever.
Yes.
And doing like meal planning. For instance, or like you gotta make that.
It's thoughts that go into energy. Then you gotta wash dishes.
Right.
God.
And you gotta do dishes. And for me, like being like very busy and not like a great cook, that's why I like your stuff is you can just have them and then you got dinner ready to go. And I think some people think because it's frozen, it's not as healthy or something. And I think that's a misconception. I kind of want to break on this. It's just as healthy. Mm-hmm. It's literally healthier than a lot of other forms. And it's very environmental.
Yeah. So like with frozen stuff, we put no extra chemicals or preservatives to make it last longer. A lot of times that you get stuff that's shelf stable, they put either gases on stuff on it to make it last longer. Mm-hmm. You know, so us, we literally, it gets rolled, goes into a freezer, and that's it. Take fresh ingredients, put it all together, add the protein with it, mix it, roll it in the freezer. That's that simple. Yeah. You know, so it's of course it's going to cost a little bit much because we are using fresh ingredients. It's not just quickly deep fried, flash fried, or whatever. It's made healthy as possible, but to the point of like not thinking about, like, my son is 13. He can just put something in there. I know it's good for him. He eat it, ready to go. My daughter, she's 5. She could try to do it. I can help her out a little bit. I'd rather have my daughter using the air fryer than doing dishes, okay? Because she sucks at dishes. All it does is turn it to a playhouse. It's soap everywhere, and now you get some water out of the fridge. It's bubbly water, okay? So don't have your 5-year-olds do dishes. Have them use the air fryer.
Yeah, it's easy. It is easy enough. And I also think, like, you know, the working professionals out there where they money's not the issue, time's the issue. This is the perfect solution 100%. For that.
Do you have an air fryer?
No.
You know what? I think if I'm just off subject, you should have your own food product. Yeah. It could be a Charlie Barron something, Bloody Mary mix. I'm telling you, you could do it. You got the brand equity. You know, you like food. You talk about food. Yeah. Like, I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm just putting that in the universe for you.
Well, maybe we partner on something.
Maybe it's a Bloody Mary spring roll. Something.
Yeah, I'd be down to do that. You know, because like it's putting it together and getting the story behind it, you know, and also me being good at cooking. You know, the only thing I'm good at really cooking is like fish, because I like catch them, clean them, that kind of thing. That's a skill, or man. Like pheasant, I can do. Duck, I can do. Really, if I kill it, I can grill it, but that's beyond that, not too good.
That's like farm to table, big time.
Maybe we do some venison.
Some venison rolls. Yeah, I'm with it.
Maybe. Man, I just maybe it can be from. I wish we could do it with, like, you know, deer people kill, but that's not how that goes.
They said no. You gotta get the. How's that work? Is it farm? Is it like farm field?
You gotta get some farm, because there's CWD, and then there's also, you know, you can't turn recreational hunting into a for-profit thing. I think there's some law against that because you don't want people poaching. You know. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, but good stuff. We'll chit chat more on that. We'll find some way to collab.
Yeah. So I feel like everybody has air fryers now. Air fryer is gonna be taking over the microwaves. Mm-hmm. I think pretty soon. So.
I do have to get one of them.
You don't have one?
When I tell you peak laziness outside of work, it's just I don't make enough time for my.
Damn. How do you cook your rolls then? I just assumed you put them in the air fryer.
No, I've been microwaving.
Microwaving?
Don't. Sometimes I put them in the oven. Oven's better.
Oven's better for sure.
For sure. Oven, but you know, we've all been there where it's late and you just and look,
you got to just do it. You got to do it.
I will say they don't taste bad out of the microwave. You know what I do? I wrap them up in paper towel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a little dumpling, you know, like little.
But you know what? I mean, it's not. Look, the best way is getting them fresh, of course.
That's it. Yeah.
But you know, I'm gonna get an air fryer. You're not the first. Well, actually, one time, my buddies came over after, and I had some in the freezer, and I nuked them all for them because I was being lazy, and they all said, "Wait." The same thing about the air fryer. So this is a long conversation, and it would not be hard for me to just order it. In fact, I'm just going to do that after. I just got to start doing the things.
That's it, man. The air fryer change your life.
I know. A buddy of mine has one. I even said I got to order.
You can boil eggs in the air fryer. It's like an oxymoron.
You can boil eggs.
You could boil it. Well, it'd be like an air fryer egg. But you can put an egg in the air fryer. 10 minutes and it'll come out like a boiled egg.
Shoot. I really do have to get that because that would make so many meals so much easier. All right. Well, I'm glad you came on because I'm going to get that air fryer.
Boom.
All right. I like it. All right. Well, we're getting close. I want to be cautious of your time and everything here. So where can people find you?
So you can find us online at funkyfreshspringrolls.com to learn about which stores we had. We're in 150 stores in Wisconsin and like northern, western Illinois. But our social media is Funky Fresh Spring Rolls across the platform. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, MySpace. Christian Singles Meet.
Oh, nice. Christian Singles.
That's the old school Black Planet. We're on there. We're on that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Or X. Is it X or Twitter? What happened?
I don't know. I think it's done. It's over. Right?
Just put Funky Fresh Spring Rolls. You could just find us.
Yeah. Put it in the Google machine. You're not gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. We gotta have you sign the wall.
I'm here. I'm want to do it.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah. Folks, that is it. Make sure you do as Truman says and go to funkyfreshspringrolls.com. You can find them on Facebook, Funky Fresh Spring Rolls, Instagram, same name. And on Twitter, it's FF Spring Rolls. So there you go. Leave them a review on Yelp if you get them and you love them, which I know you will. Just Funky Fresh Spring Rolls, Milwaukee. Okay, and of course you can follow the Cripescast at Cripescast anywhere you get your podcasts. And not much to say beyond that, except everybody keep her moving. Watch out for deer and make sure you tell your folks I says hi. Okie dokes. Bye-bye now.
So roll out the barrel and get the band brewing. Life's got you down, just keep her moving. It's on Wisconsin, the Badgers say it's the old Wisconsin Jubilee.
You know, sometimes when you're ice fishing, you put your foot in the walleye hole and go ass over tea kettle and you think you're done. No, you gotta keep her moving.